Hello and welcome to another edition of the RotorHub International Show Daily podcast, coming to you live from the floor of VERTICON 2026 here in Atlanta, Georgia. With me today is Krister Genmark from Vellox Group, who we're talking data and data management and use of data. You know, Krister, you and I, we've talked before about all the information that's out there. We have all these systems that gather information, whether that's maintenance records, crew records, compliance records, and it's all about, well, you know, data's great, but what do you do to use it?
Yeah, 100%. And I vividly remember that conversation we had 2 years ago here at VERTICON, and which is the Super Bowl for us in this industry, right? And as we're sitting here at activity around us, and I just had this analogy in my head of that's kind of the way it is in our daily operations. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of data being collected in different departments, different type of operations, and a lot of people involved. So what we're on a mission to do is trying to figure out how we can bring not just the data, but the correct data to the right stakeholder in the organization, so they can have that at their fingertips and make informed decisions much faster than you can do today. And certainly, yes, since 2 years ago, there's been a lot of development in this industry. Vellox Group was formed about a year ago, and we announced it here at VERTICON last year. And just for us, a lot of has happened since. And the technology we have at our hands today really enable us to do these things we have dreamt of over time.
Yeah, and that's, I guess, that sort of thing. You're having a vision for, wouldn't it be great if we could do this, or we could use this tool this way or that way to sort of streamline work, or, you know, work, the old phrase, you know, work smarter and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, you know, let's walk through how that started to come together for you guys, and how those threads pulled together to what you have now today.
I mean, historically, all the different parts of Vellox Group, we have the maintenance hub, we have the fleet manager, we have Dispatch Pro, we have Ops Suite and Safety Suite. The companies individually has a long history before it became Vellox Group, and they were all on a mission to create something cutting edge for the industry, whatever segment they were involved in. Now, when we came together and the people behind this venture had a vision of bringing not just the software, but also the skill set of the people into one. So our vision with this is to create a unified platform that any operator, not just in the rotor industry, but beyond that as well, can use for their operation. And whether you're heavy on maintenance or daily flight operations, you should be able to go to one place and manage your operation from there, and have that, as I said, the data at your fingertips. Yeah.
Because I guess that's the other thing you just touched on there. You know, there are these packages of here's a maintenance piece of software here, here's a fleet planning piece over here.
Right.
But it's that challenge of actually making those data points talk to each other, you know, and work. So you have, as you say, that I need to find out this, boom, I can go and I have the complete picture.
Correct.
You know, straight away. And I suppose that's the real
that's the real idea.
Moment,
yeah,
right?
and bring, it's all about safety at the end,
Yeah.
right? And the reality is, and don't get me wrong here, people are the ones, it's humans that are driving this from the ground up, right? But most often, it's the human that makes the mistake, right? Yeah. And when you have silos, and you need to communicate between the silos, and that gap there is humans.
Yeah.
You make mistakes,
yeah.
right? But if you can bring that together and remove those gaps, and the human is tasked with doing what they're best on to manage that mission with the correct data, because we're good at making decisions when we have the right information. We're really good at that. We have that what an AI never will have, which is, you know, call it whatever, the human instinct, intuition, gut feeling, whatever it is.
Creativity, or whatever it might be,
Exactly, and if you have correct data at your hands and you're able to make those decisions, and you can safely take off with that helicopter without having a doubt and land it where it's supposed to be. So bridging those gaps, making the human in this more powerful than we are today.
Yeah, and that really comes down to it, because I mean, as you've identified, when we think about the safety space, and we think about and read the data, read the accident reports, and what are the core. I mean, no accident is one thing; it's a chain of events and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But really, when you get right down to it, it comes back to the human element.
Yeah.
Whether it's a human that designed a particular piece of airspace has a problem, or a human that misset their altimeter, or a human that
Yep.
whatever it is. Very rarely is it because of an extreme mechanical failure, and even then, as is the case, it's something that a human didn't do in
Right.
maintenance or whatever that caused that failure.
And it's so painful every time, as you said, you hear of an accident, you read the accident report, and it's like, it shouldn't have happened.
Yeah,
It should not have happened. And I'm not saying that we can eliminate every accident that happens there. It's, of course, a lot of things that leads up to it, or an incident, but we got to do better.
Yeah.
And I think we can with the technology we have today.
so that's having the tools to actually make that kind of critical switch between reactive and proactive flight safety. Now the tools are there to say, look, you can see this.
Yeah,
You can see it coming,
exactly.
and have that creative thought process to say, this is what we must do to close that door.
Yeah. I listened to
window.
one of your podcasts a few weeks back with Anya, right, and Next Gen Safety, and on that track, right, how were we able to predict and put ourselves in a seat where we can control the outcome, rather than just being reactive to what's coming at us, right?
It's one of those things. I mean, sitting here, one of the big things in the last weeks here in the US and observed everywhere was the NTSB findings into the mid-air in Washington this time, just January last year. But it is interesting that you then have this reactive pieces of legislation and think, well, that is, the horse is galloping down the road and the stable door, it's closed now, but how do we get those stable doors shut before the horse decides to take a stroll?
Yeah.
But
and if you look at that, all the data that was available,
all the data was there.
It was right there.
All the data was there.
Yeah.
There were years of data.
Yeah.
And reports and stuff. Yet there didn't seem to be any kind of means of taking that parcel of information,
right,
fairly key information,
yep,
and using it as a tool to think, actually, we need to change this. And I wonder, that's one of those really great examples, actually, of exactly that. Wads and wads of information, but nothing happened. And is that because of their information systems? I don't know, But it's a good example.
Yeah. And I mean,
example.
You have all this data, but the inability to do anything with it.
Yeah.
And it's not in the world of data, it's not any news.
Yeah.
But luckily now we have technology that can decipher that data really quick for us and give us that information also in a way where we as humans can digest it, right? That's another important piece of it.
Looking at rows and rows of data stream,
right.
Okay, lots of pretty round numbers, but what does it mean?
Yeah, what does it mean for me?
Yeah.
And when you're sitting there on your dispatch chair, or if you're climbing into the helicopter, or you're turning that wrench on your aircraft, I don't want to be concerned about data per se.
Yeah.
But I want to know what I'm doing next.
Yeah.
I want to know what I'm facing. I want to have a recommendation of actions I can take to make sure that, I can make that flight safe. I can come home at the end of the night.
Yeah. The ultimate thing, come home at the end of the day.
Exactly.
It's interesting. I was just thinking while you're talking about, use of data and what does it mean? Well, we have marketing team would be angry with me, but they produce a lot of data, and my question is always, so what does that mean I have to do?
Right. No, it's the same for me.
Yeah.
You just break down everything you do, and there's numbers. There's talk to finance. I talk to development, but what does it mean for me?
Yeah.
And being able to transcribe that into the role you have, so it makes sense for me.
Yeah.
What do I do with this?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's kind of like, I remember when back in the mists of time and Earth was young and I was doing my flight instructor rating, my instructor said, look, it's not the student's job to learn, it's your job to teach and find a way to give that and deliver the information in a way that that individual can understand. And I guess it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
It's delivering the data in a means that the user can take it and say, okay, so now I have that, I understand it, I know what actions I need to take. Yeah.
Which, when we grow older, we remember those teachers that were able to do that, right? It's not an easy task.
It's not an easy task to find that way. It made that moment of ping.
Yeah. I got it. No, it's
it's
very
an extraordinary thing. Well, Krister, I'd like to thank. I mean, time is running. I know you have to run, and here at VERTICON, nowhere is near.
That is very true.
Nowhere is near. The one thing you get when you come to VERTICON is lots of exercise. We're talking about a showground, which is probably, I think from one end to the other, it's probably close to a mile.
Oh, it must be.
Yeah, and so we're all covering a lot of ground. But I really appreciate you taking the time to run up to this end.
I did run from a meeting to here, but I had time to catch my breath.
Yeah. So I really appreciate it. As always, it's great to talk to you and actually have a chance to talk to you rather than just pass on escalators like we have in recent times. So thanks very much for your time.
Thank you, Gideon. Appreciate it. As said, this is the Super Bowl for us. Let's have some fun.
Absolutely. And speaking of, Krister said it is the Super Bowl. There is tons of stuff happening here at VERTICON. There have already been some major announcements from Robinson. I understand there's some more down at Airbus and over at Leonardo later on today as well. So lots and lots going on. We're going to leave the booth here at RotorHub's stand at VERTICON and go off and absorb the vibes. So that's it for this episode. Join us again tomorrow for another episode of the RotorHub International Show Daily.